$25 a year, you'll receive 12 issues of the magazine, and you'll be helping to support important research projects. So call this toll-free number now, or send a check for $25 to this address. And discover fascinating new worlds here at the National Geographic Society.
CNN Today with Bobby Batista and Lou Waters, weekdays 1 Eastern on CNN.
People that feel the state, the country they belong to, just doesn't reflect them. It's as though they weren't there.
Quebec's quest for independence.
I would not consider his condition as a life-threatening.
Russia's president heads back to the hospital.
At-risk youths are stepping out of trouble.
And on Newsroom Worldview, resurrecting an historic wonder.
Quebec gears up for a historic vote as a cry for separatism reaches a fever pitch. It's a battle that threatens to rip Canada apart, literally.
Residents of Quebec head to the polls Monday. The issue, a vote for independence. Today, Quebec is Canada's largest province. Quebec City, founded by a French explorer in 1608, was Canada's first settlement. Quebec became the center of New France. During the French and Indian War, France lost Canada to Great Britain. The new ownership became official in 1763 by the Treaty of Paris, which ended the war.
Quebec manufactures about 25% of all Canadian goods. Economists say its secession could plunge Canada and Quebec into economic chaos. Quebec would have to develop its own monetary system. Its departure would also separate Nova Scotia and 3 other provinces from the rest of Canada. Separatist critics say the isolated regions could be tempted to seek admission to the United States.
Nationalism is an old and strong force in Quebec. About 80% of the residents have French ancestry, and French is the primary language for most residents.
Quebec is the only province that did not consent to Canada's Constitution in 1982 because the document did not protect the French language and culture, the so-called Distinct Society Clause. In 1980, a vote to secede failed by a 20% margin.
Recent polls predicted a similar defeat this time, but in the last few weeks, nationalists stepped up their independence campaign with speeches aimed at the heart of Quebec's heritage. Well, as the people of Quebec cry for independence, the rest of Canada cries for unity.
CNN's Sean Caleb's reports.
Few Canadian events have the drawing power of professional hockey, but attention here has shifted from the national pastime to what's become a national obsession. Everyone's talking about whether Quebec will decide to separate from Canada.
Yeah, we're all getting a little bit worried, but we're hoping that things will go for the no side.
If a country wants to take its own wings and make it on its own, nobody should say anything.
Not far away where the lights from Montreal's bars burn late into the night, many view the sovereignty effort as a source of pride, a way to recognize the province's rich French history.
It
is a positive nationalism, to see ourselves for what we are, and to make a decision, to say, yes, we are a people. Yes, we are different. A different culture, a different language, a different history.
But not all share that perception.
I don't see any problem there. I mean, majority, and they speak French, and it's always been treated well. I don't know what even if they give the gold, tomorrow they want to try to ask for something else.
About 1/4 of Canada's population, or 7 million people, live in Quebec. More than 80% speak French as their primary language. French explorers settled in Montreal about 400 years ago. This century has been punctuated by various efforts to split from English-speaking Canada. Faced with a sour economy, a devalued currency, and big cuts in provincial government spending, the young and disenfranchised see a we or yes vote as the means for peace and prosperity.
I think it is time. Quebecers are ready. Our culture, the culture. We must remember. We must become a country.
A grim Canadian Prime Minister is telling Quebecers Canada needs them, but warns if the vote is yes, Quebec cannot use Canadian currency or passports. Some economists say people in Quebec who believe sovereignty is the key to economic salvation should think again.
Quebec can be compared to an overweight person who decide to run the marathon tomorrow morning. It just won't make it. It cannot make it. We are running one of the highest deficit per capita in North America.
As Monday's vote draws near, Canadians are anxious, wondering whether they will see the birth of a nation or another defeat for those who no longer want to live under the Canadian flag. Quebec has been through this before, and there's no guarantee that Monday's vote will end the issue. As one critic of Quebec's push towards sovereignty told us, it's like a cruel coin toss. Heads, they win. Tails, we do it again. Sean Caleb, CNN Business News in Montreal.
In a vote of 227 to 203, the U.S. House of Representatives passed a budget bill that would slash government services, cut taxes, give states more power, and balance the federal budget in 7 years. House Speaker Newt Gingrich called it the most decisive vote in the direction of government since 1933, when President Franklin D. Roosevelt launched his New Deal. The Senate is expected to pass a similar measure today. But Vice President Al Gore told CNN's Larry King the bill's success will end there.
This is an extremist budget, Larry. It will never pass. It will never pass the president's desk. It will be vetoed in a flash.
The woman convicted of killing Tejano singer Selena was sentenced to life in prison by a Texas jury. According to state law, Yolanda Saldivar must serve at least 30 years before she can apply for parole. In the streets, hundreds of Selena's fans honked and cheered in favor of the jury's decision. Saldivar founded Selena's fan club and managed her clothing boutiques. The jury found her guilty of shooting Selena to death last March at a Corpus Christi, Texas motel. The prosecution alleged Saldivar shot Selena after the singer fired her for embezzling money from the boutiques.
The United Nations celebrates its golden anniversary, and a West Bank town celebrates change.
Russia's president is hospitalized just days after his summit with President Clinton. Let's check in on the week's top stories. For the second time in 4 months, Russian President Boris Yeltsin is hospitalized for a heart condition. He entered the facility yesterday, just 2 days after returning from his trip to France and the U.S. Some members of the Clinton administration said the Russian president didn't look well at his Monday summit with President Clinton. Reportedly, Mr. Yeltsin frequently stopped to rest while walking on the Hyde Park grounds with Mr. Clinton. President Yeltsin's condition forced aides to postpone a planned trip to China next month. Next Tuesday's planned meeting in Moscow with leaders from Serbia, Bosnia, and Croatia is also now in question. The future international peacekeeping mission in Bosnia and Herzegovina was the focus of the U.S.-Russia summit. Mr. Yeltsin pledged to work toward peace in the region, but he does not want his troops to serve under NATO's command.
Some 160 world leaders gathered in New York City for the United Nations 50th birthday celebration. As they addressed the world body, some shared their visions of the UN's future. Others gave thanks. Haiti's president praised the UN for backing his return to power.
Humblement, mais clairement.
Let us say this humbly but clearly. This is the first time that such a miracle has taken place anywhere in the world.
Israel's prime minister urged the UN to fight terrorism.
Terrorism is the world cancer today. Don't fool yourself. Even if you ignore terror, it can enter any of your homes.
Some world leaders were not well received by the host city. There were demonstrations against the heads of France, Cuba, and other nations. Cuban President Fidel Castro and PLO leader Yasser Arafat were both snubbed by the city's mayor. He had Chairman Arafat evicted from a New York Philharmonic concert.
If I have the discretion not to invite him, I would not invite Yasser Arafat to anything, anywhere, anytime, any place.
The West Bank town of Jenin is undergoing change. The first wave of Palestinian police rolled into town Wednesday as Israeli troops began to withdraw. The change of command signals an end to 28 years of Israeli occupation in the West Bank. Jenin is the first of 6 West Bank towns slated for complete Israeli withdrawal by the end of the year. A 7th town, Hebron, will undergo partial withdrawal next March. The changeover extends Palestinian autonomy in the West Bank through a process spelled out in a deal between Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization. The document was signed last month in Washington, D.C. Limited Palestinian self-rule began in May 1994 in Gaza and Jericho. Jenin's transfer should be completed by mid-November.
They say idle hands are the devil's workshop, and a police department in California seems to agree. To keep young people with too much free time from getting in trouble, they've given the kids in their area quite a bit to do. CNN's Gloria Hillard has the story.
11 o'clock at night.
LAPD officer Jose Urzua used to work narcotics undercover.
Doesn't look right. I mean, why are we putting kids in jail? We should be having some other type of something to deter them from being out on the streets.
It's hip-hop and cops together in a program the LAPD started 6 years ago called Jeopardy! Balancing the Odds. Staffed by LAPD officers and volunteers from the community, it gives kids a new outlet for expression.
5, 6, 7, 8. We're bringing them the beauty of the art, some self-esteem inside, which I notice a lot of them when they first come in don't have that.
I like to dance. I'll probably be a dancer. I'll be when I grow up.
We give them something else to learn here, something creative, something to take their minds off all that negativity. I want to give this kids something that they could take farther. Take them to Hollywood, Soul Train, you know, commercials. Right here is a good place to start.
Part of the impetus for starting a project of this nature is that you've seen so many young people fall between the cracks year after year after year, and all they really need is to be just kind of lifted and held for a while.
The kids agree to study and their families participate in parental education. Officer Urzua is visiting Alex, a Jeopardy! Participant, at school.
Sister said that you need a little bit of improvement in class, that you're doing well, but overall you're doing pretty good.
After school, this is where Alex will come.
1, 2, 3, 4, left and 5.
I won't get involved in gangs or nothing like that. I just come here and have fun.
We take them to different dance shows, musicals, Broadway shows. Some of them have already expressed an interest in dancing as a career.
Their world has always been the neighborhood, on streets where more than 24 gangs have staked their territory.
I want to be like a dancer with professional singers like Michael Jackson.
And those dreams seem just a little bit closer than they did before. And around the corner, there's a Christmas recital. Gloria Hillard, CNN, Los Angeles.
Challenging gravity the way our ancestors did over 200 years ago. I'm Jim Bacon. I'll be taking you to Albuquerque, New Mexico, site of the International Hot Air Balloon Fiesta. We'll soar high above the clouds of this magical event and meet the people who take to the sky.
Flying a balloon is a very humbling experience. Just the minute you think you got it figured out, Mother Nature humbles you somewhat.
But the minute you lift off, all the pressure's gone, and you just float with the
Now let's play ball, said Shuttle Columbia's commander Kenneth Bowersox as he threw out the ceremonial first pitch for the 5th game of the World Series. It actually took 7 tries to make the video of Bowersox throwing the ball as the shuttle orbited the Earth. The best take was shown at last night's game. At the time the pitch was thrown, the shuttle was traveling at some 17,000 miles an hour. A Major League fastball travels about 95 miles per hour. Stand by, guys. More great stuff coming up.
And Newsroom Worldview next.
How the United Nations fought an invisible killer and won.
The idea is to get the indigenous people into the so-called economic miracle.
Native Chileans try to cash in on free market prosperity.
And underwater treasures from an ancient world.
The United Nations has almost 34,000 employees around the world. They work in dozens of UN agencies, including the World Bank. It provides loans and technical help to developing countries. The International Atomic Energy Agency. It sets global safety and environmental standards for uses of nuclear energy. And the World Health Organization. It coordinates programs aimed at solving worldwide health problems. It's the agency responsible for one of the UN's biggest triumphs. We conclude our series marking the UN's 50th anniversary with a look at how the WHO wiped out smallpox. As Larry Lamont reports, it's a story that became a cliffhanger.
For centuries, people around the world bore the permanent scars of an invisible enemy. Smallpox. Spread easily from person to person, it was killing at least 2 million people every year. Survivors were often left blind.
It was clearly the most lethal, devastating disease known to mankind.
In 1967, history took a turn. The World Health Organization, a branch of the UN, launched a global assault to eradicate smallpox. 10 years later, with victory in sight, a single case almost triggered a new worldwide epidemic. Dr. Donald Henderson led the multinational offensive against smallpox. It proved to be an enormous undertaking with unforeseen and seemingly insurmountable obstacles.
We were faced with a civil war in several different countries. We were faced with open warfare between countries.
But under the banner of the World Health Organization, Henderson and his troops convinced governments to set aside their differences and fight a common enemy.
Has you been vaccinated?
Vaccinators fanned out to wherever the disease raged, from crowded cities to nomadic tribes, breaking the chains of human transmission. The final frontier was Somalia. The UN perceived the end of its mission to be at hand. Then, October 1977, a staggering find that could have sent health workers back to square one.
It was characteristic that if anything could go wrong, it would go wrong right at the very last.
In the village of Merka, Ali Malin was sick.
The individual had been a vaccinator in the program and should have been vaccinated. He was a cook in a hospital, and all hospital personnel were supposed to be vaccinated. He wasn't vaccinated, never vaccinated. Comes down with smallpox. It's misdiagnosed as malaria. Then it's misdiagnosed as chickenpox.
By the time doctors realized this was smallpox, more than 100 people had come in contact with him.
It was a very, very much of an emotional blow. Everything had gone wrong with this one patient, And is it possible that that is going to be the door that's going to open up the spread of smallpox to other parts of the world again?
Somalia is a Muslim nation, and many were about to make the annual pilgrimage to Mecca, Saudi Arabia. The worst-case scenario, Ali Malan had spread the virus to someone in this group who would carry it to Mecca, where more than 1 million people from the Muslim world would gather. Potentially an international catastrophe.
We were really worried about this Mecca pilgrimage. They thought they'd vaccinated all of them, but then they traveled with them to make sure, just to make sure that somebody didn't sneak in.
As it turned out, the plan worked. Health workers prevented another outbreak. Malan is the last known person to naturally contract smallpox. In 1980, the UN officially declared victory. Smallpox is the only disease eradicated by man. Larry Lamott, CNN Special Reports.
Negotiators are trying to iron out plans for a peace deal in the breakaway Russian Republic of Chechnya. Moscow sent troops there more than 10 months ago to stop the region's independence bid. Thousands of soldiers on both sides have been killed and scattered fighting persists. Eileen O'Connor